Welcome everyone. Alright, so in this tutorial we are going to simply model a weapon for a video game here. So this is a part of my Blender series where I just essentially turn on the recording and I kind of make something very small in a very short amount of time just so that you can get used to this. Alright, so let's go ahead. Let's start up a new file. We'll tab into edit mode and we'll push face select here. And this is actually going to be a lot simpler than you think, and as most things are. So I'm going to move this up here, okay? And we're going to need to move this over like that, okay? So now that we have something here, we can see that we have, something like the shaft of our gun. Now this is going to be extremely low poly, but what we're going to do is going to go loop, and we're going to create a loop here. And then we're going to cut loop and subdivide again, and I'll just put it right there. Okay, simple enough. It's really not that complicated when you think about it. I'm going to push E to extrude, and then here's where the magic happens. Okay, there we go. And so there we go. We have a simple little gun. It's not too hard to do, especially if you're looking for something a little bit more basic. 2D, you can do that as well. Now let's continue on and let's just continue to rapid prototype this. You can add in kind of like a space gun, something like that. Let's go ahead and let's do loop divide as well, but in this case we are going to see if we can do this one, and we'll do one loop and subdivide and then 2. Hop into face select mode, and what we're going to do is we're just going to extrude this out just a bit. I'm going to push 7. I'm just going to extrude it out just like that. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on the other side, and pushing 7 of course on the numpad. Right, I'm just going to extrude it. Yeah, there we go. So you can see that just by adding that simple little thing we get a little bit more geometry here. What we can also do is if we select all the top here, we can actually scale it inward, right? And if we push the X, we can scale it inward like this. And of course, when you push X, you scale it inward like that. And so you can see just by doing this, you add in a lot more geometry. Same thing here, I'm going to push scale and then X as well. But I have to be at kind of the right angle. So scale, X, there we go. So it's looking kind of cool. If we really want to, we can go and add in some more, and let's do that. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll take in this, we'll extrude it out just a little bit like that. What we'll do is we'll push E, and what we're going to do on both of these sides here is we're just going to make a simple grip. So I'm going to push E and then right click immediately and then scale inwards. Okay, just like that. And then we're going to push E to extrude, something like that, and then scale that inward again. All right. And so what that does is that if you can take a look at this, it makes a little bit of a grip and just adds that little bit of detail here. Now, in theory, when you're making something symmetrical like this, you want to divide it in half and add in a mirror modifier. But for now, let's just do this and eyeball it, right? So again, we're going to push E to extrude, right click, then I'm going to scale this inward just a bit, E to extrude again, and then scale it inward. All right, and there you go. You can see that we have a bit here. Now that one's a little bit too thick, so I'm going to bring that in here. In fact, we'll just take a look at the different views here. I'm just pushing it on the number pad. There we go. Okay, you can see that they're roughly the same, and that's pretty much what we're going for here. This one here, we can scale it in just a bit, not too much, and we'll scale it in on the X just a bit. And if you really want to, we can go grab their edge select, and we'll just simply make sure you actually select the edge, move it up just a bit. There we go. And you can see how this is turning out to be somewhat of a cool little gun here. What I'll also do is let's hop into face select mode, and we're going to go to loop cut, and we're going to cut along this side and just move it off the center here. We're going to do the exact same thing, just something like that. Hop into face select mode. Actually, we need one more loop cut. And where I'm going to cut it, I'm going to cut it right about there. Okay. Face select mode. And I'm going to push E to extrude. And then here you can see we kind of have a little sight here if we really wanted to. And we can push E to extrude, because that way you kind of line it up. And if we really wanted to, we can go E to extrude and then scale that in like that. Yeah, it looks pretty good. If we really wanted to, let's actually make a loop cut. And we'll make it right about there. And there we go. Extrude. And that's a bit too much. And we'll scale that in real close like that. Okay, so there we go. We have some kind of sight there. And pretty much, as you can see, this actually looks kind of cool. If we really wanted to, we could, in theory, add in kind of a nozzle like this if we really wanted to, like that. But I don't necessarily enjoy that. But actually, what might be cool is if we extruded this. Now, as you can see, when you extrude it, because it's at an angle, you need to rotate it in a certain way, and you want to make sure that it's at the right kind of angle here. Now, I pushed extrude a second time, and that's why I was making all those weird, because E is so close to R, and that's what happens. And when you rotate this, of course, find a view that's on the side like this. And so that's 3 on the numpad. We're going to rotate this, and we're going to lock it to the Y. And I always have to play around. So it's the X axis. So we're going to lock it to the X. And if you push Control, you can kind of get it to... There we go. It looks kind of weird. I think what the main problem is that we can just move this up more like that and move this down. So there we go. Kind of looks cool. And you can see that we have like a nice kind of long pistol here. Always save your work. You want to make sure that you always save your work. And yeah, you can use this in a game here. This is a very, of course, a very low poly one here, but it actually would work good in a more low poly kind of mobile online game. All right, I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.